Welcome back to session number 2, Villain Antagonist Obstacle. Writers use 3 words as if they mean the same thing: obstacle, antagonist, villain. They overlap, but they're not interchangeable. If you cannot tell which one you have, you may spend half a novel trying to make a fence post carry the weight of a human enemy. Let's begin with the obstacle. An obstacle is anything in the way. A locked door is an obstacle. A flat tire is an obstacle. A missed flight, a flooded bridge, a dead phone battery, and a clerk who filed the form under the wrong name can all block the protagonist. But an obstacle has no sustained intent. The locked door does not care whether the hero gets through. The flat tire is not making a choice. Once the hero finds a key or changes the tire, that particular resistance is finished. Obstacles make scenes harder. They do not always make stories move. An antagonist is a force that actively opposes the protagonist's pursuit. It keeps the pressure on. It changes its approach. It closes one road and then waits at the next one. If the antagonist is not a person, it still performs that function through a continuing pattern of resistance. A storm can be an antagonist when it does more than delay one flight. When the storm cuts off rescue, destroys shelter, ruins food, and forces the characters into choices that become more costly, it's taken on the antagonist function. A system can do the same thing. A legal system, a family code, a rigid class structure, or a corrupt institution can keep producing active resistance even when no single person is twirling a mustache behind a desk. Then we have the villain. A villain is a person who actively opposes the hero and does wrong in the process. The villain chooses cruelty, corruption, exploitation, murder, betrayal, or some other moral wrong. Every villain who stands against the protagonist is an antagonist, but not every antagonist is a villain. Obstacle, something in the way. Antagonist, sustained active opposition. Villain, a person who opposes and chooses wrong. Here's the rule I want you to remember. You always need an antagonist function. You don't always need a villain. Notice that I said antagonist function. Some stories distribute that function across several forces. A survival story may use the mountain, the weather, hunger, and the climber's pride. A courtroom drama may be using opposing counsel, the rules of evidence, public pressure, and a client who keeps lying. A literary novel may use family expectation on the outside and shame on the inside. There may be no single bad person. Still, something must keep saying no. So how do you know whether a story element is carrying the antagonist functions? Ask these 4 questions. Does it stand between the protagonist and a meaningful want? Does it keep resisting after the first attempt? Does it pressure increase the cost? Does it force the protagonist to make choices? If the answer is yes, you're looking at antagonist work. If the answer is no, you probably have an obstacle. That's not an insult. Stories need obstacles. A locked door at the right moment can save a scene from becoming easy. But a pile of random obstacles does not become an antagonist simply because the pile is tall. Random trouble feels like the author tossing furniture in front of the hero. Antagonist pressure feels connected. It learns. It escalates. It reaches toward the thing the hero cannot afford to lose. Imagine a courtroom story. The protagonist is a public defender trying to prove that a frightened teenager did not commit a murder. The prosecutor may be honorable. The judge may be fair. The police may have followed the evidence they had. Nobody needs to be secretly corrupt. But the evidence points the wrong way. The rules prevent the lawyer from introducing a rumor that might lead to the truth. The frightened client refuses to name the person who can provide an alibi. Public opinion has already delivered its verdict. There's no cackling villain, but there is plenty of no. Or imagine a survival story. A woman is stranded in winter after her vehicle slides off a remote road. The cold does not hate her. The snow is not evil, but every hour the temperature drops. Her phone dies. Her injured ankle swells. The food runs out. Each answer creates the next problem. The antagonist function is doing its job. Literary fiction often hides the function more carefully. A son returns home to care for the father who wounded him. The father is not plotting to destroy him. The family's old silence, the expectations of the town, and the son's practiced refusal to speak plainly may form the opposition. The story still needs rising pressure. It still needs choices that cost something. Genre changes the clothing. The function stays the same. Before you decide your antagonist is weak, make sure you're asking the right thing to do the job. A flat tire cannot carry a novel. A storm might. A rude boss may be one obstacle. A workplace built to punish honesty may become a system of opposition. And the person you have called your villain may turn out to be something more interesting. He may be the protagonist of a story only he can see. That's where we're going next.